North of 10 years after the occasion of the main film, the film starts with Jake Saul portraying his unobtrusive and tranquil life as head of the Omaticea faction and raising a family with his significant other Neytiri, which incorporates his children Neteyam and Loike and his little girl Tuk, his embraced girl Kiri, brought into the world from effortlessness Augustine's lethargic Nasik symbol, and a human kid named Bug, the child of Miles Quaritch who was brought into the world on Pandora. However, couldn't be shipped to Earth in cryostasis as a baby. While Jake can acknowledge Bug as an embraced child, Neytiri is skeptical of him given his human beginnings. In any case, every one of the kids blend and mingle well with one another including Bug, whom Kiri is warm with despite the fact that he is a human. Insect doesn't embrace his human legacy and feels more lean to Nasik's culture and customs. They have a typical existence until one day they notice an odd star in the night sky. Sadly, they understand it's a RDA space transport with people getting back to Pandora to colonize it, raising another really working base once more, making huge obliteration Pandora. Among the fresh debuts in the boat is Colonel Quaritch, who has been cloned into a Nasik's body and with his recollections transferred from before his passing. Thus, Quaritch can't recall his downfall because of Jake, however, is simply ready to remember the occasion previously and his wrathful mission to kill Jake. To keep the RDA from taking advantage of Pandora once more, Jake drives an essential guerrilla activity against the RDA supply lines, debilitating them. In one of the tasks, Loike, who ignores Neteyam and is anxious to show what him can do as a Nasik's fighter, attempts to help Jake in fight yet is injured. Jake protects and trains him to not jeopardize his own security by being wild. That evening, while at the same time keeping an eye on his injuries, Neytiri serenely reminds Jake to be not excessively severe with Loike, to which Jake communicates his anxiety as a dad for the security of his youngsters. In the interim, the retaliatory strike on the RDA supply lines doesn't agree with Quaritch, who starts a hunt mission to kill Jake. During an energetic endeavor, Jake's kids alongside Insect investigate further into the rainforest. Unbeknownst to them, Quaritch and his group are in the area investigating the site where Quaritch finds his human remaining parts. An attentive Loike sees their presence and rapidly illuminates Jake. An encounter follows and Quaritch's crew catches Jake's kids. Jake and Neytiri show up in time and free the majority of them, yet Bug is taken by Quaritch, who remembers him as his child. On board the boat, the RDA attempts to force data about Jake from Bug, whom declines. Evolving methodology, Quaritch tends to Bug as his child and furthermore to make sense of more about the Nasiks in return for his opportunity on his side. In spite of the fact that unagreeable and uninformed about Quaritch's genuine mission, Bug shows Quaritch Nasik's culture. Quaritch is likewise effectively ready to tame an Ikran flying animal as his vehicle. Realizing the risk, Insect's information on his whereabouts postures to their security and furthermore to keep away from another fiasco, Jake persuades a hesitant Neytiri and his family to exile themselves from the Omaticea faction and retreat toward the eastern seaboard of Metkaina, a coral reef island whose group and way of life is adjusted to Pandora's seagoing environment. Jake gives his central mantle to his replacement and passes on altogether to Metkaina. Once showed up, they are welcomed by the tribe boss Tonovari and his significant other Ronal, who is dicey of them at first. Nonetheless, Jake makes sense of their circumstance and they are consented to remain and given cover. Despite the fact that a few tribesmen criticize Jake and his kids for their hereditary human legacy, the family learns the methods of the reef individuals, gaining the appreciation of them. Kiri is entranced with the oceanic existence of Metkaina and fosters an otherworldly bond with the ocean and its animals, while Loike gets to know Tsireya, the little girl of tribe boss Tonovari and his better half Ronal. While adjusting to their new climate, Loike gets into a battle with Tsireya's sibling Aonung when he pokes an unrefined fun at Kiri and him of their blended human genealogy. Jake reproves his child for his way of behaving. At Jake's demand, Loike gets back to apologize to Aonung and his companions. Notwithstanding, they tempt him to an excursion into the domain of a hazardous ocean hunter, the Akula, and leave him abandoned in vengeance. The Akula attempts to go after Loike. Nonetheless, Loike is saved by and gets to know Paikan, a tulkun, a canny and pacifistic cetacean species whom the Metkaina think about their otherworldly family. Loike can speak with Paikan through marking and eliminates an old spearhead from the monster's right balance. Upon his revisitation of Metkaina, boss Tonovari, who became mindful of Aonung's deceiving of Loike, requests that the previous apologize to Loike. Nonetheless, Loike assumes the fault himself, winning Aonung's fellowship. He is additionally informed that Paikan is a pariah among his species. In the meantime, out traveling to a branch off of the Tree of Spirits, Kiri joins with it to meet her mom, yet experiences a rough seizure. She is recuperated by Ronal, yet when Jake calls Norm Spellman and Max Patel for help, Quaritch can follow them to the archipelago where the reef individuals reside. Carrying Bug with him, he lays hold of a whaling vessel which is hunting tulkuns to gather their cerebrum proteins for making hostile to maturing cues. Quaritch starts to severely scrutinize the native clans about Jake's area, bombing that. He arranges the whaling team to wantonly kill the tulkuns to draw Jake out. Loike intellectually interfaces with Paikan and discovers that the tulkun was projected out in light of the fact that he conflicted with the methods of his species and went after the whalers who killed his mom. At the point when the Metkaina learn of the tulkun butchers, Loike takes off to caution Paikan, trailed by his kin, Tsireya and Aonung. They find Paikan being pursued by the whalers, and Loike, Kiri and Tuk are caught by Quaritch. With their youngsters in harm's way, Jake, Neytiri and the Metkaina set off on a mission to face the people. Quaritch powers Jake to give up. However, seeing his spirit sibling risked, Paikan assaults the whalers, setting off a battle which kills the majority of the team and fundamentally harms the vessel, making it sink. Neytiri salvages Loike and Bug, yet is lethally shot. Jake faces Quaritch, who involves Kiri as a prisoner. At the point when Neytiri does likewise with Insect, Quaritch at first denies his child, yet halts when Neytiri cuts Bug on the chest. Jake, Quaritch, Neytiri and Tuk end up caught inside the sinking vessel. Jake chokes Quaritch into obviousness and is safeguarded by Loike and Paikan, and Kiri calls ocean animals to help her save Neytiri and Tuk. Insect finds and safeguards Quaritch, yet passes on him because of his mercilessness towards the Nasics and putting his objective to kill Jake's family over being his dad and turning into a decent man, driving him back to rejoin Jake's loved ones. After Neytiri's burial service, Jake and his family choose to for all time stay with the Metkaina.